ladies.
Hi, how are
Welcome
you?
back.
Yes.
So exciting to be back here.
I know, I love this.
So today I thought we would talk about goal setting, which is something I really, really love. For me, it gives me that direction. It gives me that ability to dream big and break it down and also puts a time around it so I know where I'm going.
Exactly.
Very important.
How about y'all? How do you think we should do our goals and why are they important?
So, you want to go first?
Go ahead. You lead.
Goals for me, I would say, normally when I set goals, is to kind of get me out of a rut. Like, so they kind of give me purpose. It gives me like that energy to say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go exercise 3 days out the week, and I'm getting ready for a vacation. So it kind of gives me some type of purpose. So it pulls me out of a rut, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Yo-Yo? Why is it important to you?
Oh, so it's definitely important, especially if you want to achieve something, because we all have these big, grandiose dreams, and sometimes if we don't write it down and try to take steps to envision it, then we don't get anywhere. I can say 10 years ago, I thought that I wanted to be a VP in my job, and I thought I'd be a best-selling author traveling the world,
Right.
and that's because even though I said it, I didn't take the necessary actions to make
do
it
it.
happen.
Okay.
So yeah, talking about goals is great. Writing it down is great.
But you gotta put the
Yeah.
The
steps
movement.
in.
The movement.
Yeah, I think for me, you're right. It's like, how do you do it? So I really looked into it, and that's why they talk about this thing called SMART goals.
Okay. Let's
Is that
talk
an
about
acronym?
it.
Yes, it's an acronym. I
Okay.
have to always look and see what it means.
Okay.
So it means that you're going to do specific,
Mm-hmm.
measurable,
Okay.
achievable,
Yes.
realistic,
Right.
Exactly.
and timely.
Mm-hmm.
So what I always struggle with is the realistic part of goals.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
right,
What
right.
can you
'Cause
do?
Because if we listen to Keisha, we'll be like, "Oh, Oprah is calling us next week."
But you know what? And I'm glad you said that. There's a difference between dreams and your goals. And like you said, with your goals, it's specific, it's a short time span. Your dreams are supposed to be big. So maybe I get my dreams and goals kind of intertwined.
But I thought,
But
to me,
there's
I
a-
thought they were the same thing.
No, a dream is like I want to go to Oprah. I want Oprah to call me and we're going to have this podcast on the own channel. That's the dream.
Right.
The goal for us is to continue to put out good content and to stay consistent. So goals are smaller and goals have a time limit. Like you
Okay.
said, SMART goals.
Okay.
Dreams is we're going to the moon next week and
Right. Right.
it's big.
Right. We're gonna be
Your
on a
dreams
yacht.
don't have a
Right.
time limit on it.
Okay.
So that's what Keisha,
That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. The goals has a time limit on it.
right.
Like, so if your goal is to lose weight, or if your goal is to finish writing a book,
Is
or
measurable, like
is
you said,
measuring.
Measurable.
and realistic.
But I don't know. That's to where I struggle. Like how for every week I think I'm going to get down, 10 things done
Mhm.
as realistic.
Right.
Right.
It's not realistic.
No.
At all.
That's another
Why?
thing. Setting too many goals because it's
Yes.
not realistic.
No.
That's very true.
So you don't want to say, I'm gonna stop cursing. I'm gonna be a good person. I'm gonna exercise.
Mhm.
You're not gonna do all of that.
Right.
Choose what you're gonna do.
Yes.
Make it realistic,
Right.
measurable. Give it a
Measurable.
time, right?
Mhm.
But to me, it's like that's where I get trouble. I struggle. So here's the big dream, and then I really want to get there.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, my real unrealistic person comes in and
Right.
says, I think I want to stay up till 1 in
Right.
the morning. Or it's like you saying, I'm going to do this before my head hits the pillow.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you're tired.
Yes. Yes.
So is that
Yes.
realistic?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's to each and own, because for me, I feel as though if I accomplish one little thing, even if it's a micro goal,
That's
it's
important.
I feel as though that progress, when you're in motion, I think it's a great thing, because it encourages you to do more.
That's true.
So when I do that small little goal the night before I go to bed, and I wake up tomorrow, the next day, excuse me, I find like, oh man, I did something.
Right. It's
And I
like
want
a
to do
step.
more. Yeah.
Right.
Like
And
I
the
did it. Okay,
right.
let me do more.
Right.
So one of the things that I said and I do throughout the year is now I break up the year into quarters,
Yeah.
making sure that I achieve at least one of the biggest goals each quarter. And as I get closer to the end of each quarter, I'm like, okay, now I need to do something. Now I need to make sure I push through. Because I think when I wait to the end of the year,
Mhm.
then I lose hope because the holidays are around, there's things, and there's always things that distract you. So one of the things that I realize is that you can run your day or have your day run you. So
I
it's
like that.
really important that when things come your way, you have to say no. No is a
Right.
sentence, no is an answer, and keep it pushing through. I mean, of course, distractions are going to happen, but
Mhm.
you have to be adamant because
Set those boundaries, right?
yeah, you have to
Yeah.
set those boundaries. If not, you will never accomplish anything.
That's true.
Everything will fall to the wayside whenever there's a hiccup, a sickness, or an accident, or an email that you need to address, or somebody
Right.
calling you that you need to pick up the phone and talk to. Just schedule that day. Like I do that now with my time. I
Mhm.
block out at least 2 hours,
For
even if
yourself?
for myself
Okay.
through the day, so I could do something. Even if it's a car ride home or my
Mhm.
commute home, I'm doing something towards
That's your
that goal.
time.
Yeah.
I think for me, knowing the why and then the how. So why am I doing this? And I always relate everything back to my kids
Mm.
because I want to be there for them. So if I'm exercising, I want to be strong for my kids. So that keeps me focused. Sometimes I keep a little picture of them, like
Ooh,
in a book or somewhere where I could just look at
Oh,
them.
I love that.
me too.
So that's my why. And then that's when the how comes in. Okay, Keisha, how are you going to do this? Are you going to do one day out the week, get to the gym? Are you going
Mm.
So I break it down to time, 20 minutes. Like you said, 20 minutes a day. So that's what kind of keeps me on track. The how and the why.
I like that you
I
have
do
that
too.
picture and you vision them and you know why you're working
Right.
towards what you're doing.
I look at them and I'm like, okay,
Mm.
candy girl.
I always have to figure out how to be realistic, and that's why I use those SMART goals. The specific, measurable,
Mhm.
achievable, realistic, and
Timely.
timely. I never can remember them. What SMART stands for all the
Right.
time, but
Right.
I do know for me, where I get lost because I guess, and I don't. I would love to hear how y'all plan these things because here's where I struggle. I struggle when I think, okay, I have these goals at work. I
Mhm.
have these goals for my personal development. I have these goals for what we're doing as the Three Ladies podcast. And then I have the goals for what I'm trying to do in my side hustle.
Right.
How do I kind of make all that happen in the day? That's
Mm-hmm.
where I struggle because, we have our timelines. I have my timeline for Healthy by George. I
Mhm.
have my timeline for what I'm doing at work, which is very unique. So
Mhm.
I tell you, sometimes by the end of the day, like I can tell you, like even last night,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I hit a wall at 9:30. I said, I've got to go to sleep because
Yes.
there's no
Because you
way
can keep going.
that I
do it
can
all.
keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I did push myself the night before till about 1 in the morning because I wanted to get some things uploaded, but I don't. I struggle because sometimes those goals that we're going after,
Right.
Right.
they require you to show up
Absolutely.
Always.
and
Absolutely.
to put in the effort.
Absolutely. Yes. And I
I
think that's a great point that you mentioned because we were just talking about, what is this podcast about?
Right.
And if you just gave a prime example, it's not just about entrepreneurship or a side hustle, it's the whole person.
Mhm.
How do you find time? You have a full-time 9 to 5 job,
Yep.
and you also are managing your entrepreneurial goals.
Mhm.
You're also a person. You're
Yep.
tired. You need to recharge, relax.
Yes.
Right.
How do you manage all that and still be successful? And that's something I think a lot of us struggle with.
Oh,
I think being present wherever you're at. So when I'm at work,
Yes.
I try to make sure, okay, I'm focusing on work. Everything else, you got to block out.
Right.
So with whatever you're doing, you stay present in that.
okay.
And then don't, like I would give myself, like you said, a range. I'm not going to say every Wednesday I'm going to work out.
Right.
I'm going to say at least one day out the week I'm going to get to the gym.
Yes.
So it may not be Wednesday. I may hit it on a Friday or a Saturday, but at least so I would say give yourself a range, but whatever you're doing, that's the one thing you're doing and that's it. And then
to be brain
it's
present.
cut off
Right.
at 9 o'clock. I'm
Right.
cutting this off, and if I
Right.
gotta whatever.
The next day.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you that's really hard.
You just fed my soul with staying present where you are.
Where you at?
So right now we're here in this podcast. You're probably your mind is going to like, wait, did I leave food out? I want to.
No. See, that's what we do.
Yes.
Stay where you at.
Stay where you
And
at.
I make sure I cut my, like, if I'm talking to my kids,
Right.
if I have the phone in my hand, I put it down because I want them to know
You have
I'm
my
with you.
attention.
Right.
Yes.
You have my attention. But when I'm done,
Right.
I got to get on this call. Like,
Yes.
don't talk to me.
Right.
So
right.
I think that's the,
Yes.
Oh,
It is a
yes.
struggle, but you again, you're one person.
Yeah.
And you have a multitude of ideas and a multitude of goals like we're discussing.
Yes.
And if you don't manage it correctly, like I just said, your day is going to run you.
yes.
Yeah, and I think I'm trying to do that a little bit better. Like,
Mhm.
I knew that we were coming to do some recording, and so I thought, what do I need to do
Mm-hmm.
so that this would be successful?
Right.
And I thought, well, I don't want to wait to order groceries.
Mm.
I want to go ahead and plan the meals I'm cooking.
Right.
Yes.
That makes sense.
I'm going to go ahead and plan the things I need to get done when I get home.
Right.
And, so this way I've already kind of outlined some simple ways
There you
that
go.
we can get what's needed done, both for us being present
Right.
here.
Mhm.
Right.
And then what do I need to do? I don't have to think about what I need to do when I get
Mhm.
home. It's already been
You already,
thought about.
right.
Right.
I like that.
And then even tomorrow, like for instance, I typically sit down on a Sunday and say, okay, because we do our prepping and planning.
Mhm.
I
On
love that.
Sundays, yes.
I love to do that on Sunday. And so I say, okay, where would I like to see myself by the end of this next week?
Mhm.
And then also, too, I look back and say, what didn't work? in the
Right.
past
Okay.
week? 'Cause,
Right.
man,
When you say look at it, are you writing everything down?
yeah.
Yeah.
I have it all written down because either I use the journal.
So that's
or-
how you're measuring.
Oh, yeah. Because
Okay.
to measure it, I have to say, okay, I had planned X
Right.
for last week.
It didn't happen.
Some of the things didn't happen.
Right.
Why?
Right.
And then I realized, oh, I said yes to so and so when I should have said no.
Okay.
Or I
Oh.
gave
Taking
away,
on too
Yeah.
much.
or I gave away too many hours to X, Y, and Z, and I should have only given them an
Yes.
hour. And I
Yeah.
have to
Knowing
tell
when
you,
to cut it off.
that is so hard.
Yeah.
Especially if I have a friend on the phone and they're, they need your time and
Yes.
attention.
Yes.
So then what do you do?
What if
know?
you
Yes.
have 5 friends that need your time?
Oh my
Yes.
God.
You got to schedule. Here's my calendar. No, but honestly, we all relate to that. And
Yeah,
then sometimes,
of course.
and it's not every day that it happens.
No,
Right.
it
So
doesn't.
again, friendships are a very important part of us as human
Absolutely.
beings. So
Absolutely.
we definitely need to make time for our friends and our family.
Mm.
I like the part when you say you write it down and you look and reflect back, because I do that too,
Mhm.
but not on a daily basis, because then I feel as though I get too bogged down and overwhelmed. But over the week, I'm like, okay, did I do this week? If I didn't, then I'm like, okay, what did I do? And sometimes, like you said, it's things that unexpectedly happen.
Right. So it
So-
distracts you or
Right. Do
Yeah.
you measure?
I do not measure.
Okay.
What I do, a little different.
I pour everything in a
Okay.
pot. I
You
pour
should-
everything in a
you
pot.
should see me.
What?
I'm Netflixing. I'm writing stuff. I'm all up. But you know what I do?
What?
I say, Keisha, this has to get done
Right.
by 5 o'clock. So I don't
Uh-huh.
care what you got going on in your head.
Right.
5 o'clock, you got to have this done.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what I do is if I get to, let's say, 4:30 and it's not done, guess
Yeah.
what? That's when I start turning off everything.
Yes.
Because I already said at 5 o'clock, I want to have this.
Your deadline.
Oh,
I
Okay.
meet that dedeadline. So
Oh, okay.
okay.
Are you a last minute Susie?
I am not, what is it called? I don't, I'm not
procrastinate?
proactive. I'm reactive.
Oh.
It's bad.
Yes.
And I know it.
Yeah.
But say like if you say, Keisha, I need you there by so and so and so. I need
Right.
this done.
Right.
I'll just be like, all right. And
Yeah.
then
10 minutes too.
I'm like, oh, wait. So
So I guess you work better under pressure.
I do.
Oh, okay. On the other side, I get so frustrated.
I do.
I get so anxious, especially if the clock is ticking and the things are not done. I'm like, so
Right.
anxious. I like to be proactive, like have
Yeah.
everything.
I want to become like at work, like
Mhm.
when there's an emergency,
Right.
I'm on my A game. They're
Okay.
like, whoa.
Right,
But I
right.
think that's where
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nursing.
Yeah.
that could be that,
It's
right?
life or
Right,
death kind of
right,
stuff, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Like they're
Yes.
dying, Keisha,
Yeah.
get up.
Yeah.
So
But
what happens if you set a goal and you don't accomplish it? Like
Yeah.
what happens? Because I know for me, I beat myself up sometimes.
Ooh.
But now I don't do so much because I realize that if it's something that's unexpected and is important to me that happened, yes. But if I'm just chilling and hanging out and just,
Right.
forget about goals,
Right, right,
then
right.
I'm like, okay, really?
Okay.
Right.
What do you do?
I'm bad. I don't. I'm.
If you
I
don't,
don't know why I'm coughing.
it's
I don't
okay.
beat myself up anymore. I'm very kind to myself because I
Okay.
realize I have a lot going on.
Yes.
Mhm.
So Keisha, if you don't get to the gym,
Okay.
sit down and
All
get
right.
your mind right. I
But do
don't
you
know.
reflect why you didn't go to the gym? Because I think part of it too. Sometimes do we make excuses for ourselves?
I
Because
do.
okay,
I do. I'm bad.
so you're
I'm
holding
really.
yourself
No,
accountable.
that's not a
I'm holding
bad.
myself accountable.
All right,
I
because I think
am.
that's an important part. Like if you
Yes,
didn't
it
reach your
is.
goal, are you also holding yourself accountable as to why you didn't reach your goal?
Mm.
Because a lot of times we procrastinate and we're like, okay, tomorrow, and then before we know it, at the end of the year, we didn't do what we were supposed to do.
I
Right.
know. And then by the end of the year, you're going, gosh, I need to kick myself because
Yeah.
Right.
I had so many missed opportunities.
Yes.
So, and see, for me, when I don't make what I planned, I love this one doctor who used to tell me I need to get it into the military zone. So if you
Oh.
were going to fight a war,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you have to feel that way about whatever it is that you just aren't showing up for,
Right.
you got to get it into that military zone, which I bet you understand.
I do understand. I'm
That's
thinking
why she
about my
smiles.
sergeant in my ear. Yes, you're right. You're right.
And that means that you've got to do it, period.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
you're going to be blown up to bits or something.
Ooh, you had to
Because-
say blow up.
Exactly,
Mhm.
because that's really kind of what it is.
Yeah.
If you get something into a military zone,
Mhm.
it means that I'm going to do this because my life
Depends on it. Okay.
So, that kind of helped me in some ways
Right.
to get my butt in shape and, face some of the things. I'm not always that good,
Right.
Mhm.
but I think if I bring it forward and think about the military zone.
I think my priority list, that's what I look at. What's priority? And then everything else, I'm like, okay, I could be
So,
easy.
what system do you think you're going to put in place? Because I think it's important to have. We discussed this too about having systems and being
Yes, the
organized.
systems.
Yeah, and
I'm
if we
still
don't-
struggling with that. Organizing.
So
I did
do
get
you
the
write-
journal.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
I did cut down from 5 to 3,
Okay.
Okay.
but I'm still like,
Okay.
But how are you? Okay, so why don't we break them down into days? Like, how is your day set up? Do you block out, like, let's say at this hour I'm going to focus on Sakish, or this hour I'm going to focus on the Three Ladies podcast, this hour I'm going to focus on my kids?
because of my work schedule,
It's tough.
It is
the 3 to 11, and then
Right.
getting home late.
Mm.
So what I do, like I said, I'll say, Keisha, you have to have this done by Friday, right?
Okay.
So I might dilly dally up until like Thursday night, and then I'm like, okay.
Then
I think it's just part of my
It'd be
makeup.
the- that's how you set yourself up.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're saying get it together, right?
No, because
No.
if it's a system that works
I
for
will
you,
get it done.
No.
I will get
Then-
it done.
right. That's what I'm saying. If it's a system that works for you, then go with it. At least you're still accomplishing something.
Right. I'll, like you say,
Yeah.
you need to start posting more. You need to start marketing.
Yes.
So I'll say, okay, Keisha, you need to get at least 3 videos out.
Okay.
But then-
Right.
That's a
yes.
start.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And drive
So-
sales in
I will get it done. It's just, I don't know.
the
Maybe
timing.
it's a short attention span. I don't know what it is.
No.
No.
Everybody's built differently. Yeah, because
exactly.
what Mary's smart board will work for her, it may not work for you,
No,
Right.
and the vice
exactly.
versa. Same
Mhm.
as
Right.
mine.
And some people don't even do goals.
Right? They're just
They
like
don't.
They just feel like it's too big of. They just feel that doesn't inspire.
too
them,
hard
it
to
doesn't
manage.
motivate them.
Right.
Mhm.
Like you see how you say, okay, you have to have your notes in by this date.
Yes.
I want to make sure I get it in.
Okay.
So I'll get it in, but it might be,
Mm-hmm.
you said by 7 o'clock, you better have it in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
But you
okay.
know what? I just realized
Yeah.
you do it
Yeah.
because you know that we're going to hold you accountable. to it.
course.
Exactly.
So you can do the same for yourself, which is
Mhm.
hard. I know.
Right, hold myself accountable.
Hold yourself
Okay.
accountable. Like I try to do that with myself. Like I said, I'm
Mhm.
going to This week, this today, I didn't wake up early to go exercise.
Right.
I didn't do the right thing. But
Right.
tomorrow, I'm going to make sure I do it. I'm going to try to hold myself accountable
Right.
because that's the best form of love you can give yourself.
That's true.
Bring
Very
the
true.
military zone.
Yes.
Bring it back, right?
Yes,
Yeah, baby.
absolutely.
So how do we handle things where we didn't complete the task or the idea or the spontaneous thing you thought you were going to make money with? How do you manage those
Gosh.
type of things? Do you let them
Yeah.
go or do you somehow
I-
pick it back up?
Yes. So I am very much a serial entrepreneur. My head
Okay.
was like
I'm with you.
anything that's shiny, I was pivoting towards that. Anything that was
Oh.
going to make me money.
Yes.
Oh, why don't I try this? Why don't I try that? And then I realized that I wasn't really interested or passionate about it. It was just a means for me to make money. And the reason why I wanted to make money is to have the freedom to do what I wanted to do, which was
Right.
write, travel, just enjoy my time with my family. And
Mhm.
for instance, so many years ago, I tried to start a t-shirt business. And I bought the machine, the heat press, the material.
Wow.
But then I was spending almost like 4 or 5 hours just to do one t-shirt. Trying to line it
Wow.
up, trying to use a heat press and trying to learn how to do many things. And I was like, 4 or 5 hours for a $25 t-shirt. That don't sound like a good
That ain't adding
ROI.
up, sugar.
I mean, at this
Bless
rate,
your heart, right?
yeah, at this rate, I'm never going
That's
to
less than
retire.
minimum.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is not going to work.
No.
Even though I like the idea, I was like, this is not going to get me the returns. And that's when you realize that, okay, that project,
Yeah.
It's not.
although you had dreams about it wasn't going to fulfill me and get me to the place where I wanted to
Yeah.
be.
And sometimes when you failed so many times, you
Yeah.
don't have that same like momentum. Like it's just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So
Failure is really helpful.
it
Yes.
is.
Really,
It
when you
is.
say, like you said, I mean, I did something once because I really am passionate about improvisation. So I tried to do this thing. I put together this whole website and a brochure and da da da.
Did everything.
And never anyone showed up. Zero. I got no traction.
Right.
Yes.
And I decided, okay, this isn't gonna fly.
So
Yes.
Even
you
though I
just
love
gave it up.
Right.
Yeah, and then I tried to do a one-woman show, but I don't know, somehow putting just myself out.
It was intimidating.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I did a very small thing. I loved doing it, but it
Mhm.
was so scary. So
Yeah.
I think that's why working with you guys and in sort of this wonderful similar mindset.
Yes.
Right.
It's
It
allowed
helps.
me to put my toe in the cold water. a little
Right.
easier,
Yeah.
I agree
Okay.
with that.
You know.
I agree with that. I think since the last business that failed, I was really reluctant. I was like, I'm not doing anything else. I'm just gonna go to work. And then I said, you know what, Keisha, pull it back together.
But if you
But-
recall, a lot of entrepreneurs, they all talk about
Yeah.
failed businesses
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
first started.
Yeah.
And the fact that you took that courage, because that's
Mhm.
another thing, that's the
Right.
courage to start it. Because some people just talk, and nothing, no fruition.
Right.
But actually, like you said, you're the kind of person jump out the plane and you
Just
figure
jump.
out how to build the parachute.
And then I'm in the sky like, wait a minute. Nobody told me to pull the plug. So yeah,
Yes.
I think I don't
And
know.
that builds the muscle too, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now starting something, I'm just like, okay, Keisha, you need to. Now I've learned my lessons. You need to figure out the money side of it, and you need to
Yes.
figure out how
Who's
much
your
time
audience?
can you put into and how. Yeah. So.
And I'm figuring that out too. You know,
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
very much a step-by-step thing.
Right.
And I think coming together with you guys kind of in a weekly way,
Right.
it
Yes.
keeps me realistic.
Right.
This does, and
It
it
does.
pushes
So what
me.
about for the people who are watching who says, "Oh, I'm the same way"? What advice or suggestions? Would you
I'm
give
gonna
them?
say find your tribe. Find your tribe. Because when you find people like minded and you see how you come to me with ideas and say, Keisha, this is what you need to do, it gives me that go again,
Battery,
the
that
green light.
backpack.
I'm like, okay, and Mary, you like, Keisha, did
Yeah.
you do this? And make sure you have this done by this time. It pushes me. So you need to find your tribe.
That's very important because then it helps you again get in touch with realistic, and then are you aligned to what you're doing?
Right.
You know,
Okay.
and it's very helpful because I know that when I show up here with you guys, y'all are gonna ask me, how's Healthy by
Right.
George going? I'm
Right.
gonna have to
Come with
say
something.
it's
Yes.
moving along,
Right.
and I've done X, Y, and Z, and I've
Mhm.
got this goal by the end of March, and
Right.
review the book.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So with all that, what would be our real key takeaways with goal setting?
Hmm.
Well, even before I say my takeaways, for people who don't have a tribe yet and find themselves, probably stuck,
Mm-hmm.
I say the biggest thing that helped me in my journey was writing it down
Mm-hmm.
and often revisiting it to see where I am
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and trying not to make excuses anymore. And even if there are excuses, ask yourself why you're making these excuses,
Mm-hmm.
because this journey is all about holding yourself accountable, whether it's business or
Absolutely.
personal growth or relationships, is how you want to show up. So
Mm-hmm.
my key takeaway is definitely to look within
Mm-hmm.
because that's where it starts. That's the reason
Always.
why those goals are not being done or accomplished is the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Are you procrastinating? Why are you procrastinating? Is it
Right.
fear? There's a lot of moving parts to it. And the quicker you can do that, the more you will find yourself reaching your goals. I
Right.
think so.
What's your
My key takeaway, I'm thinking about having the time,
Mhm.
setting the right time to do things, not waiting until the last minute, and taking those baby steps.
Yeah.
Right? Baby
It's,
steps.
and for me, which I love that I have this right here,
Ooh.
because speaking of reading it,
Mm.
so I have in the front of my journal, which I really look at very, is what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to see myself doing?
Mm-hmm.
Who do I want to be? And how do I want to live it? I
Mm.
have these 4
Details.
boxes
I like that.
Yeah.
inside my journal. And anytime I'm working on my business, I look at these things. And I have underneath each of those questions, I have a couple of things. So I think you're so right.
Mm-hmm.
Get whatever it is. My key takeaway is make it tangible
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
in like who you are, who you want to be, how you want to see your life living it,
Mm-hmm.
and what do you want out of life?
Right.
You know,
Know your why
Know
and know
your-
your how.
Yes.
How are you
it's
gonna
so
do it?
important. So
That's true.
this is wonderful, ladies. I
This
have
was
to
great.
tell you, I feel
Yes.
so inspired.
We did
I hope
it.
so.
We
And
did
I
it.
do too.
I can't wait to see y'all again.
Yes.
That's it.
We're
Next
gonna
week.
keep going. That's
So
right.
that means you've got to push that button and subscribe.
Subscribe.
Like.
Mhm.
Comment. Share.
Subscribe.